Hello there, my crypto big brothers and sisters. This here is Bull Talk Rod, and over here we got Papa Ron.
We got somebody in the house, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna have a big old turkey day tomorrow, man. Yum yum.
You need me to come over there and turn the heater thermostat up for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm getting cold down here today. I put on my jacket. I was chilly.
Oh,
Well, a
well,
lazy day for me today. I was off work, so I just kind of sat around and didn't do anything. It was fun.
it was fun. Let's get on with the shoe.
It's a shoe, really big shoe.
Couple quick news articles, just
Yes,
to
good.
keep everybody up to speed, I guess. Is it Duchesne?
Yeah, I think so. Duchesne Bank.
Strategist tells investors to avoid Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now, again, we've mentioned this on several videos that the people that are downplaying crypto and Bitcoin are generally the bankers and financial gurus and those involved in the stock market, most of them.
And they're the ones that really don't understand it. And we hopefully this video will kind of explain this, why it's a fraud.
Why Bitcoin's a fraud?
No. Why they're saying is a fraud.
Why they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. And this article wasn't bad. It talked about how Europe is generally getting more and more accepting of crypto, like Sweden and Germany and stuff. But anyway, we just want to show you there's still negativity out there, which leads us into this article at Zero Hedge.
Yeah, this is funny.
After slamming Bitcoin as a money laundering tool, meaning that, they claim that Bitcoin and the blockchain is just too available for the black market stuff, whether it be drug dealers or money launderers. So they say it's just not good for that. And then they turn around and get busted for money laundering. Oh my heck!
Here, and I hear somebody calling the pot black. You know that?
Yeah.
How's that saying go?
It's the kettle calling the pot black, or the pot calling the kettle black. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, my heck, these guys. And now you got, not only that, they're what's our next one here? Our next one, J.P. Morgan. Hang on here. This is J.P. Morgan busted for money laundering after slamming Bitcoin and blockchain. Then the next article is, isn't it ironic? JP Morgan may offer clients access to Bitcoin futures after all. Tell you, man, they're scum dogs.
They're throwing up their hands saying, okay, I'll join it. Go ahead, Quebec, but they have to see the potential in it,
Well, sure they do. I just don't know if they're worried about their financial empire crumbling, because the more this gets more traction and grabs hold. And I've been looking at a lot of articles, Rod, that a lot of the millennials are jumping on Bitcoin and crypto. It's right up their alley, Well,
we are turning into a cashless society. And I know you still like the cash, but we are turning into a cashless society.
My whole crux on that story has been the cashless society run by the government, which would be a huge negative, because once you're all digital, now we're taking Bitcoin out of the scenario here, but if you were digital in a normal world with Visa and MasterCard and so on, they got you by the cojones, brother.
Yeah, they track you.
They can, if you don't pay taxes, or if you're fined for a ticket, or you broke the law, and they could cut you off immediately and stop any of your financial situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be devastating.
Yeah, it would. For an
if they raise the taxes, they just automatically take it out of your account. I mean, you're at their mercy on everything going cashless.
Yeah.
So now bring Bitcoin back into the scenario, and hopefully it stays decentralized enough to where you still have power over the coins and tokens you own and secure, and you can get some kind of become anonymous.
Yeah.
And And that way you still have control over who you pay and who you send. So
Yeah.
Bitcoin's a whole different thing over what being a cashless society.
Well, and the thing about the banks, that's the main thing that number one, they have no control over it, and number two, they think that it can be used by illegal people. Well, guess what? Isn't fiat money used by illegal people?
Well, sure it is. And honestly, the bankers are the probably biggest crooks of all.
Oh yeah.
So that's another story for another day. But yeah, it's a mess. So anyway,
yeah, but this next article, I really am excited about this one.
Yeah, this comes out of the Cointelegraph.
Oh,
you take the lead, Rod. What is it?
Okay, South Korea makes the largest ATM machines in Asia. They manufacture the largest. Now they got a manufacturer headquarters in Texas. So now they're going to start putting it in the United States along next to fiat ATMs. Now, you stop and think about it. The exposure on this with Bitcoin will be a great. And not only that, what's exciting about it, I'll tell you I'm excited about this one, is because now we're finding that Bitcoin, because you can buy or sell Bitcoin on these ATMs. So that means that you can get whatever you want to in it, and it becomes more, currency-wise, you can get
the exposure of it.
Exposure, but not only that, liquidity. You get more liquidity out of your coins now. With this stuff going on ATMs, you'll be able to start purchasing stuff and everything. It'll be awesome.
Yeah. Rod and I went to Overstock.com, which is located in Salt Lake City. And this was back, and I didn't tell you this, Rod. Let me tell you this. We went back, and I think it was in May, we went to Overstock.com because they had an ATM, a Bitcoin ATM in their lobby. And we were curious enough to go check it out and play with it. And I just found this out today, Rod.
When we bought some Bitcoin on
That's my point. I downloaded Copay on my phone.
And I downloaded
Mycelium. And I put $10 on my Copay phone worth of Bitcoin. I opened that today, haven't opened it since then. It's $82. I said, where did that come from? From that $10 deposit.
Man, that's something else. Just since May.
Should have put a couple thousand in that savings account.
No kidding.
Oh, heck. Anyway, but the fees were kind of high. But it's just like in Japan. The reason Japan is so much, so many people and shops carrying, accepting Bitcoin, and the government, they've adopted it over there. It's the exposure that brings it on. So if we start bringing these ATMs throughout the U.S., and they're pretty rare right now where you find them, but I think there's only 3 in Utah, Moab, and 2 in Salt Lake. But anyway, this will bring enough exposure where it'll get people excited, or at least they'll know about crypto at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything else in the article, Rod? Are they going to be multi-coin ATMs or just pretty much Bitcoin?
Well, right now it's just going to be Bitcoin, but it's going to start going to other currencies, probably like maybe Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum or Litecoin. The top 10 probably. But to me, what's so exciting is that it is starting. It is starting.
Yeah, this is just the one of those things that makes us all say, we're no way in a bubble. Nobody even knows about this stuff yet. Well, they do, but they've heard of it, but there's still nobody is like, well, what is it? How do you use it? The growth
and they don't
of this,
know what the other currencies are either. Because have you heard of cryptocurrency? Go, no, I hadn't heard of that one. Well, you heard of Bitcoin? Yeah, I've heard of Bitcoin.
Yeah, you're right. It's gonna be great.
It'd be awesome.
And this ties into another prediction. Now, we've been running a couple predictions, and Rod's got one that he announced, I think, before anybody, that's going to be 10 grand before the end of the year, and he's running out of time, baby. But there's still a good shot at it. But here's a guy, and his prediction was $500,000 when Bitcoin's all said and done. And now he's changed that prediction to $1 million per coin. Now we know that there's a million satoshis within a coin.
Yeah.
And Thanksgiving Eve, the kids have already started dropping in, so I've locked my house up. They can go over to. I'll let the grandkids in. But anyway, back to folks. So anyway, this guy, he's a hedge fund manager, Mark Yusko. And this is at a Monday morning. Rod, do you understand this Metcalfe principle or Metcalfe law?
Oh yeah, Metcalfe law. Oh yeah, it's exactly what we're talking about exposure. It demonstrates the idea of the utility network increases exponentially as the number of people connect to its growth. You know, in the article, and I'll use some of the examples because he gave a great analogy, like the telephone. Way back when the telephone was first invented, there's only 1 or 2 per 1,000 people. Then it got into some homes, and all of a sudden the telephone became a
have thing.
Yeah, and look at cell phones. Same thing with them. Cell phones did the same thing. And microwaves. The more the people got it, exponentially grew, and the prices became better and more solid. And it's the same thing with Bitcoin. He's using that same analogy. And then he put analogy in with Facebook, and how the rise of Facebook went way up. And look at the graph down below. If you scroll down a little further, you'll see there's a graph, and that graph shows Facebook and Bitcoin's prices are about the same. I mean, their growth rate is the same. So it's the more the people get, and we hadn't even got in as much into the growth rate as what is it, Facebook. Facebook has a lot more people in it than the cryptocurrency world.
Sure.
But it's coming. And when it does, that $1 million could be really obtainable per coin.
Well, and it's so limited. There's only 21 million coins. I mean, and the more people spread out and it divided out amongst those that know it, you're right.
And how many billions of people are there?
Oh. And it's not just Facebook that's exploded. Look at all these social media platforms. You got hashtaggers, and you got
Pinterest,
Twitters.
Yeah.
So, and they've all just gone nuts, and so why are they saying that Bitcoin, that's on this projection upward, can't do that? According to this Metcalfe principle, they say it will. And that's why this guy predicts $1 million. So, folks, even if you just got a hold of a half or 1 Bitcoin and tuck that baby away in a hardware or paper wallet and sit on that thing, man, that'd be pretty sweet.
It's a long-term thing, because he said this $1 million may take 10 years or more.
That's long-term, Rod. I mean, my head.
Yeah. Well, for the millennials, it's not very long. I mean,
no, you're right.
But for me and you, 10 years, I may be dead.
Yeah. You better give me that your word passphrase and the seed words and all. In case you go before me, I'll be able to pass that out to your kids. Wink,
I know,
wink.
I need something. Yeah, wink, wink. That's right.
Sorry, kids. All Rod left was a couple $1,000.
You're gonna be like J.P. Morgan.
Yeah. I don't know where Rod spent all that money, but it's gone. Hookers and gambling, probably.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that's about all we had. We got the
there's
coin.
Another one. You got this.
Is there?
Bitcoin to hit 200K.
Oh yeah,
Bitcoin
yeah.
Almost. This is an interesting article here too. It talks about the average. What they did, they took 564 Americans to participate in this poll. It was the first commissioned by the Lin Edu, or whatever that's called. That's who did the poll. And they polled a bunch of people about this. You know, some of the average Bitcoin user invested $2,900 in Bitcoin during the poll.
Let me interject here. I'm sorry.
Okay,
and I'm just trying to remember when I read this article early this morning, yesterday. I think they're basically talking about millennials, that group between 18 or 19 years old and 30. Isn't this about the millennials, kind of? That. Okay, here's the things you were talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're probably right. But 55% of the users said no when they asked if they consider about Bitcoin security issues. They said no, there's no security issue. And 67% they said no if they asked if they're going to sell their Bitcoin yet, and they said no. And 64% of them said yes, they're going to pay their taxes on it, or their gains on Bitcoin. That's pretty good. You know that prices that use have been willing to sell Bitcoin an average of that much.
Yeah, what they're saying here is that these people in the poll said that they're not going to sell their Bitcoin till it reaches about 196 or 200. That was the average price that all these people that were interviewed or polled said they're going to wait and sell their Bitcoin when it hits 200 grand. And so they have the faith that it's all going in that direction.
Yeah, sorry, 40.78% of the users believe Bitcoin is a world-changing technology, and I believe that.
Yeah, especially the blockchain.
Yeah, you betcha. 21% of the users believe that the Bitcoin is long-term store of value. And I believe that. 15% of the users that trustworthy source convinced me to invest. So they were told by someone to invest in Bitcoin. 14% of the users, Bitcoin's price only will go higher. You know, there's a small amount, but you know, the longer you're in it, and the more you see this stuff, you know it's going to go up. It can't do anything else.
Yeah. And maybe I had this, I know, and like I say, it didn't say millennials in here, but we had a second article on the same thing, and I'm sure it was this millennial group that's saying, hey, they're putting all their faith into this technology of blockchain and crypto.
Well, why not? You know, they're the ones used to not having money or cash. They're all used to online
digital
banking.
Let me tell you another article I read. It was about this guy, and I can't remember who he's with. I want to say Dash. Anyway, he came in and he rented a home in San Francisco, put $20,000 up front, and anyway, it became like an attraction to these kids that are into crypto and stuff. And so they as these kids would move in for a place to stay and eat, a lot of them were converted into investing into Bitcoin. Then that house has already produced in this last year 6 millionaires because they invested long enough ago, and that coinage is now worth so much money. And yeah, these
granted, Bitcoin is the way to go, but you know, if you want to make money, and of course you have to be very, very cautious. Let me put that warning out. These new up-and-coming ICOs can make you some money, or these POWs or POSs or whatever they're called.
Proof of stake coin.
Yeah, there you go. There's still a chance to make some money in this thing. Even if you buy Bitcoin at $8,000 a coin, look, by the end of the year it's going to be $10,000. Hell, you already made $2,000.
You're not making that in any bank or any stock market or any 401 and anything.
No way.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I keep trying to get my kids involved, and they don't listen to me. Not like yours. You're more open, but mine not.
Well, I've had to beat mine. You're going to put money in that. I'm a little more forceful than you, Rod. You want to ever see me again? Then buy a dang Bitcoin.
Yeah, because I ain't giving you mine when I die.
That's right, baby. Folks, thanks for watching.
Appreciate you, and God bless you.